You know what's fun? Hold on. What is going on, everybody? We are just getting started with a little Amazon FBA Q&A. I just saw, I don't know if he's still in here. Brandon, are you in the live? Yeah, you are. Brandon, it's weird. Sometimes certain things and timings aren't good. Do you have a Chrome extension similar to the X-ray tool for your software? I'm just curious. I know I've denied your request every time you've talked to me about it. Yeah, man. All right, brother. Well, I know you probably, and is it similar? It's going to show average reviews, average price, and I'll be able to set some filters as well. If it does, definitely let's do it. Even more info. Yeah, man. Send me over a message if you're down. It's weird. You've probably been, damn, my calendar sounds good, bro. And this is like the thing with business is like sometimes certain things aren't the right timing, and a no doesn't mean a no forever. I'm not saying this to you, Brandon. This is for everybody else. A no isn't necessarily a no forever. And sometimes it's just about certain people's timing and stuff like that. I got you, brother. Appreciate you, bro. And yeah, let me know. I'd love to chat. Maybe we can get something rocking there. Good morning, Luke. What's up, Hanto? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Good to see everybody in the live. All right, sorry. I kind of lost, sorry, Tor. I kind of lost my train of thought right there just because I saw that he joined the live and I wanted to get some more insight on that. But anyways, we talked about brand metrics. Now the search query performance report. What this is going to allow you to do is it's going to give you data on each individual keyword, and it's going to give you data on impressions. It's going to give you data on clicks. It's going to give you data on add to carts and then purchases as well. I got you, bro. There you go, Brandon. Just saying hi. What's up, noob? How's the journey going, bro? And I'm going to get to everyone's question. Don't worry. I'm just answering this one a little bit more analytically. So if you're, and then there's going to be a column on the search query performance report that says brand share. This is essentially what your brand, like what your brand share is of the clicks for that keyword, what the impressions are for that keyword. If you have a keyword where the impression share is low or the click share is low, this would mean that you need to be more aggressive on your PPC ads. And then if you saw one where your clicks were good, but your purchase was bad, that's where you would want to optimize your conversion rate. Hey Luke, how many products needed to net 2 to 3K a month? So I'm not going to give a one size fits all answer for this, Georgios, because it's going to vary, but one product could easily do that. I'm not guaranteeing that. I'm not saying your first product is guaranteed to do that, but generally I'm able to pull that from just one product, assuming that it's a good product, a good differentiator and stuff like that. In fact, that's not even a bad way to ask the question, so I respect it. Could you do it with one product? Yeah, most definitely. Do you have a 3D render artist for your products? Yes, I do, Emmanuel. Tell us more about Amazon buying prior to launching the product. So from my understanding of this is, because I was a little bit confused when they had first announced it, because I was like, well, how can you do Vine prior to launching if the customer needs your product to launch? But what I've gathered is that you set your launch date later, right? Because then it's not like your product is actually live, and then you're able to get those early Vine reviews so that when your product finally does go live, you can have those 10, 20, 30 Vine reviews, whatever it is. Can you explain the buy box? Yes, it's the little box where the price and the add to cart button is for a product. And it's essentially the featured offer. Now, if you do private label, assuming there's no hijackers on your listing, you're always going to win the buy box. But for arbitrage and wholesale, which are not the business models that I do, the buy box gets circulated through other sellers. So it's based on price and a few other metrics. It's not just price, because it does also circulate. But essentially, whoever's winning the buy box is the one who's getting a majority of the sales. Do I need a freight forwarder before placing my test order so I can know so I can do it while they manufacture my product? You want to get a freight forwarder before AKM because you want to have shipping quotes before you place your bulk order. There's something that I say: if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. We bring SQP. Sorry, I've skipped one. We bring SQP report into the keyword tracker so you can see it next to your PPC in the organic. Nice, bro. Yeah, I'm excited to chat. But going back to your question, AKM, you want to know what your landed cost is going to be before placing a bulk order, because if you don't know what your cost of goods is, what your shipping is, what your FBA fees are before placing a bulk order, then you don't know your numbers. And something that I always say is, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. You always want to make sure that that product is going to be profitable before you actually launch. So that goes for everybody. Make sure that you guys use, there's the revenue calculator from Amazon. Softwares have this as well, like Helium 10. Pretty much any software that you use should have this. And calculate, you're going to put in your dimensions, the weight of your product, the category, your selling price, aka launch price, and then you're going to input your cost of goods per unit, your shipping per unit, and then it's going to spit out on the other end what your profit margin is going to be. I have $100. Can I flip this? Not with the business model that I do, my friend. There's the arbitrage business model, which is not what I personally do, where the barrier to entry is much smaller in terms of capital. But that's really just reselling. Like I've said that I'm going to do this, but I've kind of lagged on it. I'm going to do a series called something like 3K in 30 days, where I go from $0 and I scale up to 3K in just 30 days, which is how much you would need to do private label. I'll get to that in a sec, Simon. And how I would do this, I'm going to give you guys the insight on how I would do this. Everybody has probably things around their house that they don't use. Like literally right here, I have this GoPro that I'm not going to be using anymore because I'm not a really big fan of GoPro anymore. So everybody has things around their house that they don't use. What I would then do is I would go and start flipping those items. I would sell them on eBay, OfferUp, Marketplace, whatever is possible. And then I would turn those items that everybody has around their house into some starting capital. Now, if that wasn't enough to get me to that 3K point, what I would then do is start going to garage sales, start going to yard sales, start going to auction houses. Depending on where you live, most places have little auction houses that you can go to, or even like, the show Storage Wars. You go to something, a storage unit where they're auctioning off unpaid storage units or abandoned storage units. And then I would take that original starting capital that I had and I would start flipping products. That would be the route that I personally did. I personally wouldn't do arbitrage, but that's just me. Hello, Baba. What up, Batman? Good to see you, Batman. Hey, bro. What up, Simon? I got a message from a profile claiming to be you. I blocked them, though, just letting you know. Yeah, I've made a lot of videos about this. I've talked about it on live a lot of times. There are a lot of fake accounts pretending to be me. There's unfortunately absolutely nothing that I can do about it. No matter how many videos I make, no matter how many times I mention it on live, they're always going to be there. But you guys just keep in mind that my only profile is this one, aside from Luke Basha Travels. And on both accounts, I will never message you first. So as soon as an account that claims to be me messages you first, that should be your first indicator. I also appreciate all of you. I will never follow you. So if you get somebody who follows you pretending to be me, that's another indicator. That's not a real account. And then anybody can change their name, kind of how Torsab or K, like that name, anybody can change their name to Luke Basha. But the username, Lukebasha, that is my only account. That is how you spell my name. No period, no space, no numbers, nothing like that in the name itself. So keep that in mind. Got 2 orders on my other product yesterday and 2 today on the first product. Let's go, Tor. That's awesome, bro. What's your thoughts on pricing lower than competitor and pushing the volume to make profit? You're never going to win on price, Georgios, but starting at your launch at a lower price, I'm not completely opposed to. I used to be, but not so much anymore. If you wanted to drop it by like 5 to 10%, just to try to gain some momentum, and then over like a month or 2, you can slowly increase it over time. That's not a bad idea. Does your freight forwarder ship from factory in China directly to AMZ warehouse or Cali ports, UPS? They handle, it's DDP shipping. So they handle it from when it leaves the manufacturer to their warehouse until it arrives at Amazon. Total sales just crossed 3,000 by the weekend, or total sales going to cross 3,000 by the weekend. Let's go. Congrats, my friend. That's a huge W. Huge W. And now you've gotten the proof of concept that you can make money online. So that's awesome. Noob, I just saw you joined. I don't know if you joined and left again, but I wanted to know how your product's going, bro. I have an idea about which product I'd like to sell, but it may not be a moneymaker. It doesn't have to be like a home run. Like you don't need a product that's going to make you $1 million on your very first launch. Even if a product does 5K in top line revenue and it's profitable, like that's a W. That's kind of the one thing that I'm not a big fan of, like the social media game, is like it's almost like big and fast money right away. But I'm not saying anybody in this live, I don't think anybody here has this mindset. But like, again, even if you have a product that's 5K in top line revenue at like a 35% profit margin, that's like, what is that? $2,000 or a little under $2,000 in profit. That's super good. That's super good. You've gotten that proof of concept, and then you can scale up from there, because Amazon is a game of launching a good product, learning, and then launching more good products. Hi, bro. This is my first time joining. I'm interested in starting. How do I go about it? What up, Jib? So any questions that you have, you can drop them in the chat. In terms of starting, you would create an Amazon account, get a product research software, find a product to sell. On my TikTok, I have a free course. It's like 35 minutes, 7 videos. It's pinned to my profile, like on the little tabs. You guys can go check that out and kind of get a understanding of what to do. Or again, ask any question. I don't gatekeep any information. If I get $100 profit, also I will feel proud of myself. Yeah, exactly. Your first product doesn't need to make you $10,000 in profit within 6 months or whatever. Like, even if you make $500 in profit a month, like that is such a win. Very, very big win in my opinion. That guy, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you and everybody in the live. I'm glad you feel the same. I want to be passionate about the product I sell. That's where I don't think the same, Simon. I don't think that you need to like the product that you sell or be passionate about it. You should be passionate about, and this is of course just my opinion, but it's just my opinion that I've created over the years of me selling on Amazon. Some of the products that I was most passionate about and wanted to sell the most were the ones that didn't work out for me as well. But then the products where I followed the numbers, one of my best product launches, I've told this story a few times before, but one of my best product launches was on one of our newer accounts that I have with a business partner, the 0 to 1 mil account business partner. This is on the account that we got shut down by Amazon, lost like 40 grand because they took our inventory, that's a whole story. But I remember we had a product, it met the criteria. We were like, hey, we have this really solid differentiator for it. And I was just, talking smack. I was like, who's going to buy this product? This is such a, nobody that I know would use this product. I wouldn't use this product. Why would anybody buy this product? But the numbers look good. So we launched it, crushed it right out of the gate. My business partner's like, you better say sorry. He was joking, of course. He's like, you better say sorry for talking so much smack on this product. I was like, yeah, I definitely ate my words with this. But then products like, I had wrist wraps, I had apple cider vinegar gummies, products where I was like, man, I really want to launch these. Those products didn't do as well. What's up, bro? What up, Dime? Good to see you, my friend. Jib, thank you for the follow. Do you avoid products that require big research and development to achieve the final product? I always differentiate product, but like I don't. You should do in-depth R&D, which is research and development. I'm usually not good with abbreviations, but I know that one. You should do in-depth like market analysis regardless. So I'm not like reinventing a product. I'm not creating new molds or anything. But what I am doing is going through analyzing the competitors in the market. Actually, I think this would be fun to do today. If we get the live to 3K likes and 30 shares today, it has to be like within the next 20 minutes so we actually have time to show this. But I'll show you guys kind of like the data and how I go through to differentiate a product on Amazon. I only got 2 products at the moment. You think I should launch more or just focus on these first? I would focus on those ones first, Tor. And again, Jib, thank you for the follow, and everybody. A few years back, I thought all that crypto and internet money was just quick money. I know from firsthand experience, this isn't quick money at all. Yeah, like I said, I love the internet. I love people who make content. I love people who put themselves out there. I love all of that stuff, who want to provide value to others. The side that I don't like is when people try to make things seem like it's a get rich quick scheme, Amazon included, because it's not. And all of you who are just starting and launching, you know that it's not. It doesn't matter what business model you do, by the way, arbitrage, wholesale, private label, like they are all, it takes time to get a business off the ground. If it was super easy, then everybody would be a business owner. So it's good that you're realizing that now from firsthand experience, but don't worry, bro. I was the same way. I thought that everything was fast money. When I launched my very first product and brand on Amazon, I remember like I was crushing it right out of the gate. And I told my cousin, I'm like, so when do you think I can get my own apartment? Because I was sleeping on my best friend's couch. She's like, get your own apartment? You're not going to touch any of this money for a year. You got to reinvest it all back into the business. I'm like, a year? What do you mean a year? So I learned, just as you from firsthand experience. So nothing wrong with that. Statistics matter. Yeah, 100%. The market, data, all of that matters very much. Can I use a debit card to open my seller account? Technically, it needs to be a credit card. I made another TikTok page. I'm going to show my journey. I gave you a shout out. Hey, let's go, Dime. I'll go check it out after my live, bro. I actually like that, and I do recommend that for everybody. You don't need to put it on TikTok. Shout out to you, Dime, for putting yourself out there, because I think people love to like see the journey play out firsthand. But at least document the journey for yourself. Like, your orders, your sales, the struggles that you're going through. It's going to be really cool to look back on. What's the right attitude for a successful seller then? And then I see your other comment. I feel like I should care more about the products I'm selling. It's not that I disagree with you, Simon. It's not that I'm saying that you shouldn't care about the products that you're selling. But what I am saying is that you should care more about the business rather than the products. Like, I'm at a point where I'll launch anything if the market looks good and my differentiator is solid enough. But like, again, the products that I failed on with Amazon, like wrist wraps. I love going to the gym. I used wrist wraps from another brand, and then I became an Amazon seller. The brand that I used them from was Riptone. They're still around on Amazon. And so I was really passionate about it. And I was like, man, if I use this, I can easily market this product. I'll do great with it. It did not do great. Apple cider vinegar gummies. I was really passionate about supplements. And my very first product that I launched that was successful was a supplement, a gummy supplement. And so I thought, oh man, well, I can launch any gummy supplement and it's going to perform well. Nope, I did not perform well in that market. Because let's actually break those two down. Wrist wraps. I was passionate about it, but the average price wasn't good. The margins weren't good. The cost per click for advertising wasn't good. The low reviewed sellers on page one who performed well was not good. And so although I was passionate about it, the product didn't work because the numbers didn't work out. Same thing, apple cider vinegar gummies, insanely high average reviews, insanely high cost per clicks for the main keyword. There were practically no sellers on page one with low reviews who were performing well. What else? I was going up against the behemoth, the Goliath, Goalie. I'm sure every single person here who has heard of Goalie, and that was my competitor back in 2020 when I tried to launch that product. It didn't work for me. So the right attitude for a successful seller is don't be married to the product, be married to the business, and be married to the money. Because we may be passionate about products, but then the money doesn't fit or doesn't match up, the metrics don't fit, and then that product doesn't end up performing well. Hashim, thank you so much for the follow, or Hasim. It's probably Hasim, right? Thank you so much for the follow. Use Jungle Scout? No, I use Helium 10. Jungle Scout's cool too. I feel like I answered that. What up, Alex? Can I use my EBT card for Amazon? You're funny, Alex. What up, brother? Good to see you. So it's easier to find. Did I skip? Hey, Airstick in the other live. What's good, my boy? Did I miss a comment? I see his response, but I told my friends about the Amazon business. He's going to smoke. So he said, buddy, we should sell Gaslighter. No. See, and that's actually anybody that I've talked to about Amazon, and I don't blame them. I did the same thing. So I'm not like judging. I'm not saying, oh, how could you think this? But anybody that I talk to about Amazon is like, oh, I want to sell this type of product because I use this type of product. But those products don't usually perform well. What type of FBA do you do? I do private label Ahmad. Where do you buy the product you add when you use SellerAmp? Where is the supplier? I get my products from Alibaba, a lot of them at least. But again, I do private label, so. And I don't use SellerAmp either. I'm having so much trouble ungating. I got $1,700 worth of inventory sitting at a prep center. Drip, I do private label. I don't need to get ungated for products. And I don't mean to use you as like your struggles as an example, but so I hope you don't take it the wrong way. But this is kind of what I mean when I say, like, when you hear people who do arbitrage and wholesale, like, try to say all these bad things about private label. Meanwhile, arbitrage and wholesale also have their own struggles. They're also equally as difficult in their own way. But yeah, I mean, to get ungated, it's Amazon tells you how to get ungated. You just have to follow those guidelines, find an official wholesaler or distributor to get ungated for those products. Do you mind showing the first product you sold? I cannot show the first product that I sold. I signed lots of NDAs for that, so I can't talk about like the brand. I can't talk about certain things, but it was a gummy supplement, Simon. I signed NDAs because I no longer own that brand. But yeah, it was a gummy supplement. I can just leave it at that. I'm in Canada. Can I set up Amazon in the States? Yes, I have lots of students, and I know a lot of people on TikTok who sell in the US market from Canada. Do you do private label or something else? I do private label. Or explain the first product that produced 7 figures. Yeah, like I said, it was that gummy supplement product. And the reason why it did so well is because I did everything that I talk about nowadays. It was a good product market, wasn't super competitive, didn't have super high average reviews. I differentiated the product really good. I had really good branding. I drove external traffic from off Amazon to Amazon. I did social media content on my own branded pages for that account. I had influencers. I ran really good Amazon PPC ads, maybe not at the very, very start, but I learned PPC fairly quickly just because of the way that I learned PPC. And so it was just this big full circle, or not full circle, what's the word I'm looking for? Like perfect storm. This perfect storm of like everything that a good product needs. What does private label mean? I create my own brands player. So I'm not selling like Nike or Adidas or these existing brands, which is primarily what you hear about when you hear about Amazon nowadays. But I'm creating my own brand. So kind of like, I'm not comparing myself to Nike, but almost how like Nike creates shoes and then puts their logo on it. They actually used to get shoes manufactured, white label it, and put their own shoes on it. Now they develop their own shoes, but that's pretty much the business model that I do. Can I use Gmail to open a seller account? Yes, you can. I would never sell a product that I love. I will do research and execute my product exactly. Are you going to lose a lot of money on getting even with invoices? Sorry to break it to you. No, but you're still going to have an equal amount of struggles as somebody who does private label would. So again, yeah, if you do the ungating part right, for sure. But just like you know, Alex, not every product that I'm sure that you ordered when you do wholesale was a hitter. You probably sat on inventory that didn't perform well. You probably got hit with storage fees because inventory didn't turn as fast because maybe you didn't win the buy box, assuming that you didn't have exclusive rights, which most people don't. I'm not trying to paint arbitrage or wholesale in a light that they're not, but I also want to paint them in a more realistic light. I personally very much believe that if we took 100 sellers who did private label, 100 sellers who did arbitrage, and 100 sellers who did wholesale, you would see very similar numbers for people who succeed and people who fail. Did you get 3K likes? I did. We got to get those 30 shares and then we could do it. I feel like it's good to do FBA and FBA on random products to get money up and then make your own product. Well, FBA is all of the business models. FBA is just a shipping method. It means fulfilled by Amazon, meaning that I send my products to Amazon and then Amazon fulfills them. Private label, wholesale, and arbitrage can all be those business models. I disagree, but I'm not saying that your perspective is wrong at all. Everybody has their own opinions and what they think is right. But I think that starting with private label, I started with private label and I didn't have money. I had to get my money up elsewhere. And then I started private label. I don't really want to go learn a full business model to go try to do a different business model because there's not much that you're going to learn from doing arbitrage that is going to carry over to private label. What advice do you have for beginners to scale? It depends on where you're at in your journey venture. That's a little bit broad. So I have a lot of advice on on what to do to scale, but it depends. Like, are you talking about you have a product you're selling, you want to increase your revenues? Are you talking about you have a product you're not converting very well? Do you only have your product selling in North American market? No. Is it good to look at seasonal products? No, I avoid seasonal products, Ahmad, because I want a product that's going to perform well year round, not a product that's going to just barely perform. Or not, excuse me, not barely perform, but only perform in those, seasonal months. Like I wouldn't sell a Christmas product because the Christmas product's only going to do well from like October to December before Christmas, when the badge under the price says arrives before Christmas. Once January hits, if I'm selling Christmas ornaments, my Christmas ornaments aren't going to sell like that. Same thing, Valentine's Day. I'm not going to get a product where only like a month before I'm performing well, and then the rest of the month or the rest of the months of the year I'm not performing well. I want an evergreen product that's going to sell for me year round. I wonder how that guy had inventory and a prep center. Did he get ungated before sending? I would assume not, considering the situation that they were in, Alex. Also, is it possible to sell products in different markets, Europe, Asia, etc.? Yes, it is. You can sell in multiple markets. Do you use Jungle Scout or Helium 10? I personally use Helium 10. What mindset to have in the business just to succeed? I'm doing OA right now. Considering I don't do that business model, I'll give you more generic advice. Like I said, I do create my own brands, not sell existing brands. But the advice would be resilient. And I don't mean, when I say resilient, I mean pushing past adversity, because you're going to have a lot of, sorry, I was reading another comment, but you're going to have a lot of things that come up in business. So it's about pushing past those things and becoming a better business person or entrepreneur on the other side. So don't let those, sometimes they seem like bigger problems. I haven't said this for a while, but I used to be the type of seller where every little thing I felt like the sky was falling. It was like Chicken Little, where it's like, oh my gosh, this went wrong. It's the end of business. This went wrong. It's the end of business. Now, I never quit or let those things deter me off the path, but I learned from them, and I've had every single problem in the book that you guys can think of when it comes to selling on Amazon or having a business, I have dealt with, like literally everything. I don't think that there's something that, from taxes to failed products to ads not converting to issues with my Amazon account, Amazon accounts getting suspended, Amazon's accounts getting deactivated, dealing with seller support, like literally every little thing. But I was able to push past those, and you just never quit. And then again, you become a better entrepreneur on the other side. Do you ever use global sources or DHgate? No. How long did it take you to find a solid product to sell? Well, I started my not started my Amazon journey, but I started looking into Amazon late 2018, probably like October of 2018. And I know it was October because in November, I went to what I call my last hoorah. I went to a festival called Life is Beautiful in Vegas. And then after that festival, I decided, you know what, I'm taking this Amazon thing completely serious. I'm done going out. I'm done partying. I'm done doing all of that stuff. And so then after November, I had already had the product that I was going to sell, that I knew I was going to sell in October, did that last hoorah. And then by January 1st, 2019, I had my very first product live on Amazon. Can I start with 1K? Not the business model that I do, no. You know that I do wholesale and make sure and triple that I am ready to sell. Triple check, do you mean, Alex? What do you think about drop shipping right now? I think that every business model has potentials here. Drop shipping is not for me, but I know people who it works for. So it really just depends on what your goals are, what business interests you. Same ownership. Can I create multiple accounts? Does Amazon allow that? Technically, no, you can't have multiple Amazon accounts. There's ways to do it. I don't like talking about them on TikTok because one small mistake and then you lose all of your seller accounts. Georgios, thank you for sharing the live. One Bold Ramen, thank you so much for the follow, and everybody in here. I meant 10K. Yes, with 10K, you don't even need to get close. You don't even need to spend all of that 10K mark. another misconception that you may hear on the internet, usually from the arbitrage and wholesale community, is that you need like 10, 15, 20K to launch a private label product. I launched majority of my products, and I have 50 plus that I sell on Amazon, not just on this account, across multiple accounts, where I launched them for under 6K. I have breakdowns on my videos of the products that I've launched, how much I paid. Like last product that I launched, it was cost of goods, 3,400. It was, I think, yeah, 3,400. And that was that was for 300 units. And then we had to pay $500 for this approval test. Now, most products and categories don't need that. It was a baby product, or excuse me, a toys and games product. So that was 3,900. Then we paid 900 for shipping. So for 300 units landed cost, it was still under 5K. You can launch about 2 products with 10K. Yes, 100%. Do you have a tier system for the paid group, or is it just one price for the group? There's a tier system, Georgios. So the tiers would be, we have an option, and honestly, I think we've only ever had like 2 people do this. But there's one option where you can have all of the curriculum, but you don't have access to me. You don't have access to the one-on-one call. You don't have access to the freight forwarder. You literally don't, you just have the curriculum. Those are for people who, hey, I want to do this on my own, but I just want that little bit of guidance on what to do. And then you have the second tier. This is going to be the full mentorship where everything is included except for product selection. And then you have the third tier where it's everything included, and then also product selection, where based on the criteria that I use and teach, I will select your product for you. So yeah, different tiers depending on what your goals are. The 2 most popular, obviously, are going to be the main mentorship and then main mentorship plus product selection, because then that's where you get direct access to me, one-on-one call with me, access to the FB group, access to our weekly coaching calls, access to the freight forwarder, the inspection service, the trademark service, the sourcing service, the listing creation service. How do you recommend to do FBA if I only got 10K in the bank? Well, I wouldn't spend that full 10K. I would launch one product based on like the criteria that I use and teach. And I would start with like 100 to 300 units, and then I would keep the rest on the side. So you don't want to go put your life savings into any business that you start, and you'd probably, depending on the product that you launch, the weight, the size, how expensive the product was, then you'd probably be under 6K, and then you keep the rest. And then you get that proof of concept and you start to launch and scale your business. How can I join your class? It's in the TikTok bio for everybody. You would go to the AMC Masterclass there, and then there's a little button that says, yes, I want to apply once you're on the mentorship site. And you would just go through the application, hop on a call with our onboarding coach, Adam, and he'll be able to get you locked in, answer any question that you have about the program and all of that good stuff as well. Is wholesale better or private label? Well, I do private label, so I say private label is better. I can also give you analytical reasons why private label is better. But if you went into somebody's live who does wholesale, they're going to say wholesale is better. If you went into somebody's live who does arbitrage, they're going to say arbitrage is better. Everybody's going to have their different opinion. I don't think that there is necessarily a bad business model if you give it your all, but analytically, private label is better. And I can go over the reasons why. Number 1, you have a brand that you own. It's IP that you own. And when you own it, you can actually go on to make an exit one day. Nobody's going to buy your wholesale or arbitrage account, right? Because they can just take the money that they would spend there, go develop relationships with the wholesalers, and now they literally have the same thing that you have. Number 2, profit margins on private label are on average higher than wholesale and arbitrage, even with ads, because you always hear the arbitrage and wholesale sellers say, we sell existing products that already exist and we don't have to run ads. But what they fail to mention is that I'm not selling products that nobody knows about. Like there's something called search volume on Amazon. Search volume is the searches or demand that a product or keyword has. Now, I'm not selling, I was going to try to make up a product, but I don't even know a product that I could make up. I'm selling products that people on Amazon, like literally every single one of you, when you go to shop on Amazon, you probably type something in like water bottle or phone charger, and these are not products that I would launch, but you search something up like that. Those products have demand, just like a branded product has. And the cool thing with Amazon PPC, in my opinion, is that it actually helps you. A lot of people try to make it seem like it's a negative thing. Oh, but you have to run ads. But ads actually allow me to expand my brand. If I was doing 10K a month on my PPC ads with 5 ad campaigns and a total of 10 keywords, if I started to expand on my strategy as I had a good conversion and I was profitable, then I could go in and now add another 10 keywords, and that's going to help increase my sales. I can increase my organic rank, which is also going to help me increase my sales. I'm gonna get to everyone's question, don't worry. Another thing is I'm able to optimize my listing and push for reviews. When you do wholesale, the listing that you get is what you get. You're not necessarily gonna go make an optimization for all the people who also sell on that product. And so by optimizing your listing, what happens is if you make good optimizations, you can increase your conversion. What happens when you increase your conversion? Well, if you have 100 clicks and a 5% conversion, that's 5 sales out of those 100 clicks. But if I increase my conversion to 20% for those same 100 clicks, now it's 20 sales. So with wholesale, you're kind of limited. There's a ceiling to it. And then one of the big things is that I win the buy box 100% of the time. Like nobody else is selling on my listing. And if you don't win the buy box, which it does circulate, you're not the one who's making a majority of the sales. Because I own the listing, I own the IP of my brand. I'm also able to go launch those other products on other platforms. I know this is about Amazon, but I'm able to be omnipresent with my brand. I can be on TikTok Shop. I can be on Amazon. I can be on Walmart. I can have my own Shopify store for it. Any ideas for beginners private labeling? That's a bit broad, RA. If you could be a little bit more specific, like what kind of ideas? Product ideas, launch ideas? For starters, how much capital is needed? 3K USD is the minimum that I say. What should I do at 16 that has access to someone major, not much capital? What do you mean someone major? What do you mean access to someone major? A few things of advice is try not to look at some general advice. Yes, I can wait for what, Alex? Like someone 18 plus to make an Amazon account. I mean, it would be still following the same strategies. Technically, you can't launch being 16. You know that. You would have to have a parent or legal guardian be the one who is the access to someone 18 plus or older to help you with this. But some more general advice is careful with what you see on social media. Like it's good. Like I respect it very much. I respect it very much that you are a youngster and you're trying to get into business. I was not even thinking about that kind of stuff when I was your age. But another thing is, don't think that you need to be 19 years old with a Lamborghini and having 5 supercars. And if you don't, then you're failing in life. Like that's just not the reality of life, bro. Those are really anomalies and good for those people. And it's good to have those dreams. My advice is learn just like everybody, but also enjoy your youth because you're only going to be 16 once. And those are, I'm assuming you're in the States, maybe not. But if you are in the States, this is, you have homecoming, you have prom, you have like all of these different things to enjoy your senior night. Like enjoy those things. Work hard still. You can still do it on the side. But don't think like, oh man, I'm 18 years old and I don't have a Lamborghini yet. I'm failing in life. Like, nah, bro, that's not the reality. Should I ship my first listing straight to Amazon or to my home first to make sure it's all good? Get a product inspection to make sure it's all good. They'll do that overseas and then ship it directly to Amazon. It's kind of a waste of money and time to do my move. Wait, what do you mean by your move, Alex? Is Amazon saturated? No, it is not. Amazon is a platform, everybody. The largest e-commerce platform in the world at that. For Amazon to be saturated, then the act of buying and selling products online is saturated. It means nobody should ever sell products online. And Amazon is like Shopify. Having a website is not saturated, which means Amazon is not saturated, because if you build a good product and a good brand, then if you build something, my cousin always told me, who was one of my mentors, if you build it, they will come. If you build something great, they will come. Have you ever known anyone who's been sued for trademark or copyright infringement? I know people who have gotten cease and desists, but not sued. I launched a product 1 month ago and I am getting sales from ads. Is just 2 to 3 orders daily, but OTQL. I'm not good at abbreviations, y'all. You guys got to spell these things out for me. It's 20 to 25. So what is organic sales? Organic sales is what you don't pay for. Like organic, non-paid. We hear now. What's good, Air Stick? From the UK, love your content. Following up from my question, I want to get into private label. Nice, all right, that's awesome, bro. But what sorts of products shall I stay away from? I would say electronics, fragile items, clothing, shoes, consumables, topicals. Am I missing anything? Yeah, those would be the ones that I'd avoid. How do you pay your supplier in China? PayPal, CC, Wire. At the start, the most economical way is not what I start with. But I usually pay on a CC through Alibaba. I'm not a big fan of wires. I don't believe, China doesn't have PayPal, I don't believe. And so, you want to start, you make sure it's on Alibaba. Always keep communication on Alibaba. Pay with a CC. Make sure that they have trade assurance. Bro, to start doing private label. Gotcha, Alex. Gotcha. Also, Alex, within the next couple days, bro, I'm going to be sending you your product. I'm actually finalizing the report, so it'll either be tonight, God willing, or tomorrow. We need to hear what Luke AI says about that. Yes. The only thing with Luke AI is it doesn't make the live flow. We did use it a little bit yesterday, Airstick. Sup, what up, Sheep? Sheep, by the way, I know that they already responded to you, but just a little update on why there was a delay in the listing creation. I just actually found this out yesterday. My manager for that, who manages all communication, he actually got in an accident and fractured his hand. Thank God he's good, but that was why there was a few day delay on messages. Where do I find inspectors in China? When you order a product on Alibaba, you can go into your orders and then scroll down to the bottom. There's going to be a little section that says other services, and then you'll see inspection service there. How do you continue with AMZ research method for a product as home decor only goes to page 7? Where do you continue searching? There's also keyword product research that you can do, and then there's also obviously the black box tool. Sheep, would you advise always getting a tester, then order larger quantity? Yes, always 100 to 300 units at the start. Hey, I'm starting. Please advise on how to price your item. It's going to be dependent on the market that you launch in. So let's say that the average price in the market was $40, right? You're not necessarily married to that average price, but you want to account for what other sellers sell their product for, what the value that you add to your product, and then you don't necessarily want to price yourself out of the market. Like if there's 40 product or 50 products on page 1 and 30 of them sell for between 35 and 40 bucks, and then some of the rest, the other 20 are priced lower than that, you don't necessarily want to be at $80, but you also want to make sure that you're at a 30% margin after FBA fees, cost of goods, and shipping. You do those reports yourself. My team creates them, but I always am verifying them. So but yeah, my team creates them. So cease and desist is not legally enforceable, but you advise to continue or stopping the product. Well, a cease and desist is essentially saying, hey, you need to stop selling this product. And then if you don't stop selling the product, then they can take legal action. So yes, I do recommend stopping if you get a cease and desist, especially if there's merit to it. Now I feel really bad for sending those extra mails asking for an update. No, don't feel bad, brother. I did the same thing. I was like, yo, we got to get responses in 24 hours. And then he's like, I swear I do respond in 24 hours, but I got in an accident. You're good, bro. Neither of us knew that. I literally just found out yesterday. So it's all good. But yeah, just keep in mind that we do respond in 24 hours, or no more than 24 hours, but that was just a weird, or an unfortunate, I should say, situation. What are some good categories to start launching products? Is beauty and fashion good? For me, not a fan. I don't like clothing. I don't like shoes. And I don't like topical products, which most beauty products are. You're going to have high return rates, high cost per click, super competitive markets. I just posted a video today of my favorite product categories on Amazon. So make sure y'all go show those videos some love. Thanks, of course, of course. Today I posted a few videos. I think I'm going to scale back on my 4 videos a day. Baby product needs approvals. Yes, but it's really easy to get approvals for baby products. Your manufacturer will be able to provide those. But yeah, I am going to scale back on the 4 videos a day, 4 to 5 videos a day. We'll probably dial it back down to 2 to 3. But today I posted a video on the best product categories when selling on Amazon, Amazon PPC ads explained, and then the third video, or the most recent one, how much is shipping when selling on Amazon. So make sure y'all go show them some love, because I don't ask for anything in return for doing these lives or making the videos, just that y'all go show them some love. Drop a like, drop a comment, drop a favorite, and make sure you favorite them for later if you see a video that's going to be relevant to you, and you can always circle back to. But getting a cease and desist is not a common issue, is it? No, not unless you're infringing on somebody's IP, which I have systems in place where I'm making sure that I'm not launching any patented products. Like, for example, Georgios, my students who do product selection, we do a basic patent search for them. It's one of the things that's included in the report to make sure that the product doesn't have any patents. We also do a trademark search to make sure that there's no like keywords in the main keyword that are trademarked. So like, kind of an example, if you try to sell an off-brand Lego product, Lego's going to hit you with a cease and desist. If you try to sell a off-brand Scrub Daddy sponge, not even under the name Scrub Daddy, Scrub Daddy is going to hit you with a cease and desist because they have a patent on that. So there's checks that you do before, and then as long as you make sure that you do those checks, it's not something that's common. I actually hardly ever see it. Like for students, I've only ever seen one person get a cease and desist, and that was for a product that they had launched prior to joining the program because they had infringed on a design patent. So there's utility patent and then there's design patent. Does Lego patent every design of theirs? Dude, Lego is a behemoth of a company. They protect their IP so much. I was talking to somebody, another example, I was talking to somebody who launched a product that was not even considered Lego, but it was like little figurines. But they were not Lego pieces, but they were figurines, and Lego hit them with a cease and desist and had validation in that cease and desist. So they would have taken legal action if that person continued to sell them. Pants are really expensive, right? Yeah, they can be upwards of $10,000. One guy has a product listed, so he also mentioned patent pending in his title. That's a strategy that some people do, Iban, that there's not too, You can check if there's a patent pending on something through the USPTO, but that's a strategy people do to try to like veer people away from taking their ideas. I have seen so many products on Amazon. Now, sometimes there is validity to it, but I have seen so many products on Amazon that said patent pending, and just for fun, I'll go look into it and there's no patent pending. Now, I'm not saying that that doesn't mean that there's no validity, because some people really do have a patent pending, but a lot of times I'd say it's like 50-50. So it's best to check. Drop shipping versus, I'm assuming you mean drop shipping versus Amazon, completely different business models. So one, I'm selling products on the largest e-commerce platform in the world that has the built-in customer base, that has the built-in searches. A majority of my sales on ads, a majority of my sales on this account don't come from ads. Like 70% organic. When it's pending, it won't show up on the USPTO website. I believe that it does, Airstick. Let me fact check what I just said, because there is a way to see if a patent is pending. I could be wrong, but I need to fact check this. Okay, so sometimes it will show up. Let me double check this. Assuming that they don't waive confidentiality, it will appear. And then if they do, it'll appear after publication. So that's the fact check on that. I will share with you. Share with me? Oh, share with me. Nice. But everybody, we've been given an hour of straight value. So now this is my shameless plug portion of the live. Y'all, I have so many free videos here for y'all to get access to on TikTok. So if what I'm about to say isn't in the cards for you, remember, I have so much free content. In fact, if you see these little tabs on my TikTok, AMZ free course, it's 8 videos. 7 of them are in the actual series, and then another ones that I've made is an extra one that I made. There's like 45 minutes worth of content in just these 8 videos on TikTok, a free course for y'all. But for those who wanted direct access to me, access to all of the things that I've built out in the mentorship, the Harvard of Amazon FBA private label education, check out the TikTok bio, the AMZ Masterclass. You'd be able to click here, yes, I want to apply. You'd go through this application here, actually fill it out proper so that my onboarding coach, Adam, can best help you on the call. It takes about 60 seconds. I'm going to hide this part because it's my phone number and stuff. Oh, it's okay. Nobody saw that. That was a silly move of me. Anyways, good thing it's not on YT. So, and if you guys qualify for the program, like I said, I've doxed myself like 5 times by accident, so it's okay. If you guys qualify for the program, you'll be prompted to this page right here. That was funny. I put it down and then put it up before I click next. Select the date and time, and you will be able to hop on a call with my onboarding coach, Adam, where he's going to be able to help you. He's just calling you right now. No, I bet nobody saw that. But where he'll be able to, that's funny, sheep. Where he'll be able to answer any questions that you have about the program, help create a unique plan for your unique situation, and get you dialed in. You know, when it's raining in Toronto, I'm an Uber driver gathering money to start my Amazon. My back so hard. I feel it, bro. I live with back pain. I actually have 2 compressed discs in my spine and a hairline fracture in my spine as well. By the way, 3 Modeler said that I have a great product detail page. Shame it doesn't convert well. You'll get there, Sheep. I know that you will. Just sign them up for a bunch of random texts. Y'all are funny. But on that note, everybody, I hope you have a blessed day, blessed rest of your week. Make sure to go show some love to my last few videos, and make sure to check out the AMZ Masterclass in the TikTok bio. And I will see you all, God willing, tomorrow.